And the bitch is back. And that feels so robotic to say for the third time. But we're here. It's Lyra. How you doing? I today wanted to talk about a video that a lot of you have already asked of me, and I tried to touch on back 2 years ago, back when I had first started my transition, and I had first started something called speech therapy. And I wanted to make a follow-up video to that for a couple of reasons. I know how hard it can be to try to feminize your voice, and I needed videos like this when I was transitioning, and I saw a lot of lovely YouTubers. Some of the most helpful YouTubers I can think of were Aurora Andrews, Princess Jules, and Violet141531. I don't even know where she went, but I loved her to death, and I still do, and those YouTubers changed my life. And so I want to change your lives and tell you the things that I was able to do in order to pass more regularly with my voice, because my voice was always my biggest dead giveaway. And I know what you're thinking. If any of you comment telling me that my voice doesn't pass, I don't care. Because I get mammed on the phone. And that's all that matters to me. So, you could fuck yourselves. Anyway, as somebody who has a big background in theater, I have a lot of experience maintaining vocal range and trying to manipulate my voice, but when I first started transitioning, I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to get my voice to sound higher. And there were a lot of factors that contributed to me being able to fix my problem. The first one was hormones. Hormones and testosterone blockers do make an impact on your voice. They do make it easier to speak in an easier way. And it was a slow process for me, and I was very impatient, and I thought I needed to fix my voice right now. But I learned that you can't fight the clock when it comes to transition. So I did start seeing speech therapy. There's a video on that I can link down below if you guys want to watch. And I could recommend my speech therapist. I thought she did a wonderful job. But when I didn't drop out. I withdrew from college back then, and I took some time off. Back when I moved back home was when I quit speech therapy, and I haven't actually been back since. And I will go back someday. And I want you all to know that there's nothing wrong with going to speech therapy. There's nothing wrong with accepting that you need help with a problem. Because I thought I could muscle my way through my voice, and I couldn't. I sounded gruff, I sounded angry, and I think a lot of my frustration and anger came out in my voice. So I want to give you guys 5 easy steps onto how to feminize your voice, and I'm going to break it down for you. Number 1, get on HRT. If you aren't on HRT, I really think you should, because HRT is not an immediate thing. You're not going to wake up overnight and look like a girl. I was not full-time when I started HRT. I lived as a boy for a very long time, and I didn't start living full-time until about a year on hormones. And that, most people start sooner, and you're allowed to start sooner. I didn't even change my name until about a year on hormones, and that's okay. If you want progress, first step, HRT. Second step, I recommend speech therapy. I found a lovely speech therapist. If any of you want to know what her name is, I can refer her down below as long as it's okay with her. And I mostly know people in the California area, but if any of you also have speech therapists you would love to recommend, I would love to hear comments down below on ways to help other fellow trans people. Number 3 would be to learn how to control your anger. I have an anger issue in my life, and I would often let myself raise my voice, and I think that's because that's what I learned how to do as a kid. And what I do now is something that I actually learned from my boyfriend, and it's learning how to process your feelings and slow yourself down, and really just try to take life one step at a time, just like Jordan Sparks' hit single, and just be like, I am going to speak and sound less like a man. And just repeat that positive affirmation to yourself, and you might see a difference, because that's what happened with me. So that'd be number 3. Number 4 was that I started working as a cashier. I started working at Kohl's, and this is something that Violet told me to do, and that's what I did. She worked at Target, I believe, but I worked at Kohl's because the Kohl's in my area was closer. And I actually applied to Kohl's stuff, but most of my coworkers knew. They didn't talk about it behind my back, as far as I know, and they were very respectful about it. And when I ended up telling my boss I was trans, she was very accepting, and she told me she didn't even think or suspect. And whether or not that's true is neither here nor there, because all that means is that the people in my life were respectful of my identity, and that meant a lot for me. And as a cashier, I got to practice living full time. That was one of the first times I had stepped outside of the house and gone by Lyra. Because of those of you that remember, I used to go by the name Trevor, and I had a lot of anxiety about that, and I didn't want to work under that name, and that was the first way I put myself out there. And then number 5, this might sound crazy, but it would be teaching yourself to sing. I love singing, and I always have, but I always used to hate the way my voice sounded ever since my voice changed. Because when I was little, I was a little theater bitch. I used to sing The Sound of Music, and I would sing Ave Maria and all that stuff, but then when my voice changed, I got really depressed. But recently, I've been making enough progress on my voice that I'm really starting to love and embrace it, and things are looking up for me, and things are gonna be looking up for y'all bitches if you listen holla up. So on that note, those were just 5 easy things that I used to feminize my voice, and if any of you guys wanted to use those, I'm sure it would at least help you out. Please feel free to message me, please feel free to subscribe, and if you want to check out that speech therapy video, I'll have a link to it embedded on the screen. Goodbye! Turn it off, Colin. Colin, please turn it off.
Dislike the video.
Smash that dislike button. Bye-bye.